When I was thinking about how to approach this video, I thought, it's going to be a video that I can look at and go, okay, well, let's see if we can talk about this in an impossible good way, because Microsoft would have to do something extraordinary to really make this work. And, that's something that could be looked at as very good news. So, and we'll see what happens. Like, again, anything can happen in this industry. It does kind of change from time to time and things like that, but I just really think that we're kind of living in this day and age where we don't really know what's going to happen, and things happen behind the scenes, and then something else happens, and at the end of the day, we just honestly don't know what's happening from week to week. So, hopefully this kind of can get some kind of normalcy back in the gaming sphere. But let's go ahead and get started. I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I really do appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. It certainly helps out my channel and, means a lot to me personally. I do daily gaming content, so if you guys are looking for some fun stuff to get into, then look no further. I have fun with this. I try to be fun yet informative. Hopefully that comes across to you guys. The channel's growing little by little, and that's a good thing. I'll take it. So thank you guys. Now, we know Xbox is going through a time, right? Like, we just know it's going through a time. It's a shift right now. We don't know what's going to happen. We're not sure how this is going to, affect things in the future in terms of what we're going to get. But for right now, I think it's very much worth talking about, because Phil Spencer's been doing some of the rounds and stuff like that. So I thought this was an interesting kind of thing here. So Phil Spencer doing some interviews, and he's explaining, because this is a question I had, and is it enough for you? Like, that's the question I'm going to answer. I'll give you my answer here in a second. But he explains why you should buy an Xbox in the multi-platform era. Right, so basically nothing that they have is going to be exclusive, and he's discussing where Xbox hardware fits within this new approach with multi-platform game development. So, since the start of last year, Microsoft has brought an increased number of games to rival platforms, and its gaming CEO Phil Spencer has said there are now no red lines for which games it could port next. Its new marketing campaign even proclaims that virtually any device is now an Xbox. This has left many Xbox console owners wondering where their devices fit in Microsoft's plans for an ever more open ecosystem. Xbox's Phil Spencer was asked about this in a new interview. He said, and I quote, "I want people to pick hardware based on the capabilities of that hardware and how that fits into the choices that they want to make about where they want to play. And we want our hardware to win based on the hardware capabilities that we have." I think the difference that we've seen in the last 20 years, and I think this is good because I come from building those games, is it's really games first, not platform first. Most of the games that you or I will talk about run across so many different platforms, and those are the games that are having success. Those are the games that are at the top of the charts. I want to build a platform that services those creators, the creators that are trying to meet people on every screen. In the same interview, Phil Spencer reiterated that Xbox intends to release more of its games on more platforms in the future, but he also emphasized that the brand has a future in hardware. Microsoft first announced last February that it's actively working on its next generation console. And I quote, "Let's say it, our own hardware. I think it's fundamental about what Xbox is. It's not lost to me that box is in the name of our brand in the position that I'm in. I look at hardware as a critical part of what we do, and we're not trying to gatekeep the games off of other places for the benefit of it. Let's go build innovative hardware that people want to use and play, whether that's in their hands, whether it's on the television, or even other places. And I love our hardware team. I spent some time with them just the other week. The roadmap that they have, I think we're learning a lot from this, like Steam Deck and what does it mean for our games to be there, ROG Ally, Lenovo, what does Xbox mean on those platforms. I don't think we've tuned it perfectly yet, and I spent a lot of time with the team on that. I want to make progress there." In the same interview, Spencer confirmed that Xbox intends to support Nintendo Switch 2 with ports of its own games. He says, and I quote, "I was exchanging emails with Furukawa-san, the CEO of Nintendo. I gave him a big congrats and told him my old eyes appreciates the larger screen." So, again, this is one of those things where Some people are going to take it as a good thing. Some people, like, I'm going to just for the instance say, okay, Microsoft is going to have, without exclusive games, you're going to have to come out with something that is so fantastical. It's going to have to really be completely different. Because if you look at what the Xbox Series X and like the PS5, to be quite honest with you, they're very similar. I know, like, technically, I guess the Xbox Series X is more powerful than the base PS5, but they're very similar consoles with very similar things. And when it comes to how games performed on them, very similar. Sometimes Xbox would win, sometimes PlayStation would win. So they're very kind of similar things. Again, though, Microsoft would have to really go above and beyond, I think, to lure people in, because if you think about this for a second, and let's see what the hardware can cook. I'm at least willing to give it that, and let's wait and see what their hardware is actually going to do. Because for me, when you hear, oh, well, we want our hardware to win based on innovation and things like that, listen, will they do another console? It sounds like it. I mean, they've said they would. They've also said a lot of other things, so that's not necessarily indicative of whether or not they will. But when you look at this and you go, okay, well, they'll build hardware, but there's going to be some issues there, because this hardware has to be so vastly better in so many ways than the next PlayStation, because the next PlayStation is going to have PlayStation games, Xbox games, and probably more third-party games, because a lot of developers flock to PlayStation, whatever the case may be, and really, really kind of utilize what PlayStation has, which is always going to be that larger install base. When you look at what Xbox is selling right now, there's reports out there saying that they did under 3 million units in North America in 2024, which is the worst that they've ever done. So that would be a very negative situation. Now, when it comes to this, it's like you got to have something that's going to draw people in. I mean, look, there's going to be some people, and I've seen this, and I guess I can understand, some of this aspect. A lot of people buy a lot of digital games now. I'm one of those people. Like, I have no problem, I don't want to say ditching Xbox, but I have no problem not getting the next Xbox if it's something that that's not going to really bode well for me. You know what I mean? Like, I tell people this all the time, and that's not to brag, but I've got something like almost 1,500 games installed on my Series X, and so when I look at this and I go, well, how are they going to really appeal to me? But there's a lot of people with so many digital games, they'll get the next Xbox regardless of the exclusives, and I can understand that. But there's also people that are going to be thinking like, okay, well, I have a good amount of games, but my Xbox Series X or S is going to play games, pretty well for the foreseeable future, so I'll just stick with that. And then maybe next gen I'll pick up a PlayStation 6. And I can understand that kind of thought process too. But, the one thing is, I really, really think that Microsoft has something up their sleeves for the hardware. And I know what you're thinking, because there's some people that are saying this to me. This part doesn't make sense to me. I don't think they're going to do Steam stores and all that kind of stuff, right? I honestly don't think they're going to do that. And the reason being is because they have to subsidize their console, right? If you're putting all this awesomeness into a console, you have to subsidize it, and what that means is you sell your hardware at a loss, right? And then you make it up with game sales, subscriptions, services, people subscribing to stuff, microtransactions. So many people play Fortnite and stuff and buy the skins, and Microsoft gets 30% cut of that. It's billions of dollars every year, by the way. So you make all that stuff up through that way. So that's where I think you have to have something that's epic, and you have to have something that's amazing. I still think you're going to need some stuff that's going to be exclusive, just my opinion, but I guess we'll see how this works out. I'm going to hedge the bets and say that I think probably the next Xbox will be most likely the last, and it'll probably be the worst selling, maybe even worse than the original Xbox, and maybe they'll be okay with that, like the Surface stuff, they've let that die. You know, they do no advertising, no nothing. Panis Panay is gone. They let it go by the wayside, but it's still there technically. So, you know, I guess we'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.